free.
Good evening and good evening. Welcome to the Upfront Mind, Body, and Soul podcast, where I'm your host, Michelle Bolden Hammond. And listen, we are back this week with part 2 of Trust the Process. Yay, ladies. Yes. We are so glad that you are here to grace Upfront Mind, Body, and Soul. And listen, audience, I will tell you that these ladies are some phenomenal ladies as well. So just sit back. We're going to ask you to grab some tea because we're going to dig deep into how we trust the process. As that song said, I got over. So these are some ladies who have got over some things, but we had to trust the process in that. So I like to say, welcome, ladies. Welcome, everyone. So I am going to start right here tonight with Dr. Teresa. Can you tell the audience who you are and what you do?
Yes, my name is Her Excellency Dr. Teresa Ann Mosley. I'm a United Nations WOMI Peace Ambassador. I'm a retired educator after 28 years of service. I'm a U.S. Army veteran. I'm a 15-time best-selling author, international motivational speaker, and the 2024 WUHA International Brand Ambassador. They call me the Peacemaker. And that's what I do. I try to have people know that if they live in their purpose, they'll be successful, fulfilled, prosperous, and have inner peace.
All right. See, you got to trust the process and all of that. You got to trust the process. Now, my next person is Dr. Talvia.
Great evening, everyone. I am Dr. Talvia Peterson, CEO and founder of A Pink Success. Also sole proprietor and owner of Here to Serve Realty. I'm an accomplished author as well of one of the best-selling journals on Amazon, Never Do Average. I'm also a licensed real estate agent, a certified coach, and have successfully built referring teams in just about every city, every state, and most countries. So I'm very excited to be here. Thank you.
And Nicole.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Michelle, for having us. My name is Nicole Guanzura. I am an early career development strategist, and I am the CEO and founder of Education Advancement Consulting. And we are on a mission to make sure that first generation, low income individuals are equipped with the confidence and access they need to fulfilling careers and informed higher education opportunities.
And my last lady, Danica.
Hello there. Thanks for having me today. My name is Danica Davenport. Professionally, I'm an HR director for a global engineering firm. I also own a life coaching and career coaching company called Hers, and we help women, Black and Brown women in midlife, to transition to sort of their second and third acts. So it's really exciting. I also own a small HR consulting company called D&K HR Solutions. So that we're sort of getting off the ground and getting out there. So yeah, that's just a little bit about me.
All right. And as you know, guys, I am also a part of this collaboration too. I'm so glad this is not the first time for me as an author as well, but I am so glad to be a part of this. And you know what? The question that I'm going to ask, what was your yes about coming to trust the process? So I am going to start with Nicole.
For me, my yes was just, you know what? Somebody needs to hear the story. God is calling me to share it, and the opportunity presented itself in the most unexpected and perfect way, as only God would have it. And I couldn't say anything but yes.
Same for you, Danica.
My yes really is just tied to my purpose, which is to normalize the human experience. And I try to do that with all of my clients. I do it professionally because, as I always say, a lot of times, especially like on social media, we see the glory, or like my mom likes to say, but we don't see the story. And so when I heard the title, Trust the Process, right? And reap the harvest. We see the harvest, but we also need to see the process so we can normalize all of our experiences, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So that's my yes.
Most definitely. Dr. Teresa, same question for you.
I said yes because of Dr. Huntley and Dr. Jennifer. I worked with them before. They were amazing to work for. I did have two other book projects, but I had to say yes to this because I love working with that team. And anytime I have an opportunity to share some wisdom with the world, I'm in.
Yes, yes, yes. And Dr. Talvia, same question for you.
Yes, I believe that my yes started many years ago, and the opportunity, it was just the right opportunity. And I remember seeing it with Dr. Rhonda, and she said, "You've got to talk to Dr. Huntley." And so I reached out to her because I just wanted to follow what God had for me, and that was to serve, and not just serve, but to empower others through our stories. And so it was just time to tell the story.
And for me, I'm like a piggyback off of Dr. Teresa. I have been in several book projects with Dr. Huntley and Dr. Jennifer Bryant as well. We have worked on some projects together, and you got to have that mindset of collaboration is too. So when you know that you have been through this with these two ladies as well, you know that you're on a like mindset journey, and we trust the process. It's like we trust them as the individuals that they are, and we know that working with them, we haven't been stirred wrong yet. Because I mean, just being real about that, just haven't been stirred wrong yet. So that leads about to the question. So, how did your unique strength in this collaboration for you as a co-author? What was your unique strength that you found in doing this trust the process collaboration? And I'm gonna go with Dr. Talvia.
So thank you for this question. This has been, I would have to say, a work in progress. This has not always, in being totally authentic, this has not always been where I was in life. But I will find that right now, my unique strength is definitely engaging in the practice of gratitude, understanding the power of the mindset, understanding just the power of depression, and especially women having anxiety, depression, sleep anxiety, and engaging in that practice of gratitude has changed my life through journaling. And so I will say that is my unique secret weapon, if you will, to just encouraging myself, keeping myself stress free, keeping the energy there, and just continuing to observe changes over time for me.
Yes, most definitely. Journaling is a big major factor for me as well. Because sometimes when you journal, I look at it as, you remember the scripture Habakkuk 2:4, write the vision, make it plain. So if there's any bumps in the road, I'm going to write and journal those things to get me through that process. So it's like steps that we have to take when we're going through specific journeys and stuff in our life. So Dr. Teresa, the same question go for you.
My gift from God is I have a gift of discernment. I kind of know things, and I'm very organized. And you have to be organized and can manage your time writing a book. Remember, I told you I had two other projects, but also I lost three relatives during this whole process, and I still kept the deadlines. I still met my targets on all three books, but it gave me an opportunity for people in this sisterhood to really embrace me because I was going through this grieving process. So my strength was my faith in my God and the gift of discernment to know that I had to write these books because it kept my mind in a very positive place.
Yes, and I remember you sharing with me about that process. And see, that's the key. When you know who you are and you know what your abilities are, it's the integrity. It takes a lot of standards for integrity now in our society, right? Because like you said, Danica, you see what's on social media, but you don't see all what's going on behind the doors. And to be so transparent on those type of things, I think that's when you see that authenticity of people, that I can go through what you've been through and I can maintain this same mindset. See, that's what it's a chain reaction of all of that. So Nicole, I'm going to say the same question for you.
For me, my unique strength, honestly, with this as a first time author was obedience. I This process, this book came at a time where the Lord closed the loop on the topic I'm talking about. And it had been 10 years. 10 years. He closed it in the 10th year. And that obedience to now say it's time and walk in and realize, wow, I can do all things through him who gives me strength, and I'm going to be obedient. And Dr. Huntley was so gracious as to listen to the Holy Spirit about encouraging me through it and doing it and following in that obedience when I honestly would have preferred to run.
Isn't it sometimes we get those Jonah experiences, right? But then when we get to the land and it just not do it, just be obedient with it, because if not, you're gonna have to backtrack it, and then you're gonna have to go through it even swifter and faster. So it's all about obedience. That is so correct. When you're trusting the process, which direction, even when you don't see whether to go north, east, south, or west, you still gotta trust the process. So the same question for you, Danica.
Sure. I'd say I don't know if it's unique, but I'd say my strength has been vulnerability and being authentic, as you mentioned before. I think it goes to the process, right? There's no perfection in the process. It's messy, right? You have your hurdles, you have your ups and downs, but that gets you to the harvest. And so I think when we can be vulnerable and we can be real and human with everyone, we're able to relate to them. And as you said before, Michelle, then they know, you know what? If they went through it, I can. And isn't that why we're here, right? To relate to each other. So that for me is a strength that came out in the writing of the chapter.
Exactly. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. We always, like you said, the second half portion of what the book says is reaping the harvest. You know, we know that the harvest is coming. Sometimes we be like, oh God, why? When is this? You said it's gonna reap this harvest. And audience, before we came on tonight, I was sharing about this weekend. There's been a retreat that I've been doing for like the past 14 years. And let me say this. This is something that's very passion of mine, to see people heal and to be that willow path of inspiration. But when you see, people always ask, when are you going to do something for the men? And I'm running from it. Like you said, Nicole, I'm running from it. I'm like, that's not my genre. But why not make it a drama? Make it. So this year was the very first co-ed that I had males, and to see males transformed, for them to run to the taxi cab driver to pick them up and say, man, this was life changing. Now, if I wasn't obedient to go ahead and make this the first thing, but I had to trust the process. I didn't know what it was going to look like, but I tell you what, God prevailed this weekend, and that was trusting the process. I just enjoy that. That was like a good strength, being obedient to move forward, go out the norm. Because sometimes we have to go out the norm. We have to get out of that comfortable position and get uncomfortable in some things sometimes in order for us to trust the process. Because then when we do that uncomfortable thing, that's when you reap the rewards and the harvest. So to you guys, what do you feel is the most rewarding aspect of working together on this project? For me, I'm gonna say sisterhood. I'm all about sisterhood, but I just feel as though it's just something about that electricity of women working together, because we have that saying that women can't work together, but I've seen that we have worked together. We have worked together and we all power surge and connected to one another for this. So I'm going to start with Dr. Talbia with that question.
It's so funny when you were asking this question. I thought about, what you just said about women working together. And, one thing I remember my mom sharing with me a long time ago is, baby girl, everybody's not going to give love like you. Everybody's not going to give energy like you. You're going to smile many of times and people are not going to receive it or be in a position to receive that light, right? That guiding light, which I later found out in life, through high school and college, was one of my gifts from God, was just that energy of light. But what I would say, my most rewarding aspect is maturity. And when you work with women who are at a mature level that want to gain something from each other, it is rewarding within itself. And so just having the diverse perspectives, the diverse backgrounds, the diverse experiences, I'm so excited to learn from each other and build upon each other's contributions, because it is through all of us that even myself learned, ultimately reaping the harvest, and why we should continue to trust the process.
Yes, most definitely. Dr. Teresa, the same question for you.
Yes, it's the collaboration was always amazing every time I worked with Dr. Huntley. But just because they prayed for me, I wrote this book in the midst of my brother dying and ultimately dying in January. And I know some people on this book were praying for me because I felt it. I mean, I really, really felt that I needed to write this book at this time to be surrounded by this love from these women. So it's that got me through my time of grief.
Yes. Danica, the same question for you.
Well, I wanted to also first just extend my condolences to you, Dr. Teresa, and the losses that you've shared. In terms of this project, what it's meant to me is it's for me, the one word that comes to mind is inspiration. And I say that because each of you and all of the other co-authors are just inspirational to me. I'm able to peek into your lives. I feel like I'm in a window, right? At a store, and like, oh, what is Dr. Teresa doing? What is Dr. Talvia doing? And I follow you on social media. And what it lets me know is that each of us has a unique gift, and we may not necessarily be where another person is, but we can get there. And it is an inspiration. It speaks to my soul to say, you know what, where do you want to be? And if they can do it, you can do it. And we're all in this thing together. So for me, it's just inspiration. And I just say to each of the co-authors, keep going, because you encourage me. And it's just exciting. I feel very honored to be a part of the project.
And we're honored to have you here as well. Nicole, the same question for you.
Yes. So, just being able to open my messenger, and there is a random voice note from Dr. Huntley, and she's praying over my life. So, Dr. Teresa, what you're saying, and my condolences in that loss, that you have that support. is just more than I expected from this. Just being my first time as an author, first time in an anthology, just all of this. But also, I think similar to what Danica is saying, in that being around this incredible caliber of women who are just so successful, but just not any type of success, a success that is backed by the word of God. That to me allows me to see, okay, where I'm going, it can be, I can go there, I can get there and have the word with me. I can be successful and have the word of God hidden in my heart, because there's so many distractions all around us right now. So I think it's just so important to have the safe space of other women, that you can just talk about who you are. And part of being who I am is, yes, this budding author, but this child of God, and having that in common, and writing a book that is so anointed with all of these incredible authors. It's incredible.
All right. All right. So listen, audience, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to hear from these phenomenal ladies about, keep on continuing trusting the process. But we're also going to come back. When we come back, we're going to give a little definition from our views of what trust or process is. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Upfront Mind, Body, and Soul, where I'm your host, Michelle Bolden Hammond, and I am here with the co-authors of the Trust the Process but Reap the Harvest book collaboration, where we have the fine Dr. Mary J.Huntley, who is the visionary behind this project. So, ladies, before we went off for a little break, I wanted you to take out these two words, and you can choose either trust or process. I want you to give the audience your significant view of whichever word you choose. Either it's trust or process. So I am going to start with Danica.
Thank you. I love that question. So I'll go with process. For me, process represents a bridge. I'm a very visual person. And so when I think of process, I think of a bridge between where you were and where you're going. I often talk about seeing ourselves in the future, seeing our future selves, and the power of that actually gets us through the process or over the bridge. Think about when you're going on a trip, right? The thing that oftentimes motivates you when you're going on the trip, whether you're flying or whatever the case might be, is getting there. Like, oh, I'm going to Hawaii. I'm going where? Japan, wherever you're going. If there's excitement. And so I think there's power in future dating ourselves to say, I'm going here. The process is that bridge. It's going to get me there. And that will give me the strength to go through the process or cross that bridge.
All right. Dr. Talvia, same, which one? Trust or process?
All right. You would think I know where the mute button is yet. I'm going to choose trust. I have found anyone that takes the time to get to know me will know that I am a cheerful giver, probably an ecstatic giver. And so I'm going to just choose trust, because I believe that is the foundation of just so many meaningful relationships, right? Whether it is a relationship in business or collaborators or authors or friends or partners. And so just having that trust, I feel really sets us up for confidence. It helps with confidence and integrity, and it just truly fosters an open communication of mutual respect, I believe, and yeah, trust.
Okay. Nicole.
For me, I'm going to choose process because when I think about process, I think of everything that I am doing or everything you're doing to get to a certain goal takes a certain process, right? There's one step, there's step A, step B, step C to get you to that. But I think it's really important that as you're going through that process that you're making intentional decisions about it. Otherwise, I've heard this saying that, whether or not, if you decide not to make a decision is ultimately going to be made for you. So why not rather make decisions about, well, if I want C to look like this, the process of getting through A and B has to go the certain way in order to bring about the best visual of what C could look like. So for me, I think when I really think about it, process is just such an important path of no matter what you're doing in life, it has to be intentional and it cannot just be on a whim or just because. Sometimes it is. It's important to just make a decision out of nowhere. But I think for the things that matter the most, it's very important to be intentional about your process.
Yes, most definitely. And Dr. Teresa, for you.
Trust. Trust is to believe. Trust is to have hope. Trust is to have faith. As a former school administrator, trust matters. You know, being your authentic self, doing what you say you're going to do. You want people to trust you, you have to do what you say you're going to do. But most important, trust is believing. Believing in yourself, believing in others, believing in there could be peace in the world. My word is trust.
Yes. And last week I'm like someone else who gives out the analogy. I think about when it's process for me. It take a like when you're our life is like a recipe, you know. Sometimes we have the directions, sometimes we do, sometimes we add a little bit, sometimes we take away a little bit. But the thing is, how you gonna blend? How you gonna blend that major ingredient to bake that perfect cake or to get? Because you know what? If we leave out some of the ingredients, it's not going to work. It's not going to taste like it should. And if we put too much in thinking in the process of it, we can still damage it, right? So it just follow the directions. It's easy. There's a blueprint of direction for us for life. So that's just how we just follow the process. You might not have it right all the time, you know? You might not have it all together all the time, but everything has to blend together. There's a reason why. You might need for your baking soda. You got to have that active ingredient to make that baking soda go. You got to add whatever you need to add into it, but make sure you're adding the right preservatives in it. So that's how we trust the process. So, you know, we almost over on bread tea. So time has really gone today. Um, with this collaboration, do you see yourselves entering into other projects? Now, for me, pray about the opportunity. If it's need be, if it fits the description of what my goal is and my purpose, yes, it will be for me. Yes. And if God says so, yes, it is. So I'm going to start with Nicole. How about you?
Yes, I'm very similar to you, Michelle. If God calls me to it, just like I wasn't expecting this collaboration, but He was leading me to it. And then I also recognize that for my work to grow, my business to scale, there's always going to be an importance in collaborating and growing my network and growing in the way I work with with folks. So as just God leads, I'm going to have a very discerning ear and eye, and excited about what He has planned.
Yes. Dr. Teresa, the question for you, because I know you have a major project that's
Booked
coming.
up until December. I'm booked up until December. I have so much book. I have two other book projects. I'm writing a forward for another book coming in the fall. I have my Passion Purpose Peace Summit, which is, it feels like I'm planning a wedding. It's sold out. It's sold out. Sorry guys, I might have to get a bigger room with a wait list maybe. So I have a lot going on. And once again, I have to listen to my heart, listen to my God. If something pops up for another book, I have to really look at my schedule to see, can I make this deadline? And if I can, I will. And if I can't, then I'll have to pass. But I'm booked up until I just updated my calendar on my. I said, wait, what? How did I get booked for all of this stuff? I'm good. I'm going to take a sabbatical in January, February.
Hey, trust me. I know. I know. So, Dr. Tavia, same question for you.
Yes, and I just want to piggyback on some of my other sisters here that have been speaking. I talk about the horse blinkers or blockers that you have to continue to put on so that you stay focused and keep the end in mind of what I feel like God is destining me towards. And I think if it's a project that He is calling me towards, I am all for it. But at the same time, I am very clear that if I cannot do a project and I cannot give my heart and I cannot give, and it is not on the same path towards my passion, that I am in a position to just have a hard no at this time. It doesn't mean no forever, but it just means no at this time. So I'm very open to at least those opportunities.
And Danica.
Thank you. I'll have to piggyback on what you said, Dr. Tavia. If the opportunity presents itself and it is an opportunity that aligns with sort of my purpose, then I certainly will be, I'm more than willing to be a part of it. But the other side of that is if it, will lead to burnout and things of that nature, and it's like got too much going on and I can't be effective, right? That's
Right.
when I might have to say no. And it may not be no, not necessarily no forever, but just no for now, as Dr. Chalpia mentioned. So if it presents itself and it's in alignment, then the answer is yes.
All right. So, ladies, I just want to say, for those who are looking for book collaboration, this is the kind of characteristics that you want to see. You want to see sisterhood. You want to see community. You want to see collaborative efforts, and you also want to see faith, because again, it's going to take all of that for you to work together. Because again, something one of the ladies said here earlier, not you might smile, that smile might not meet everyone. So you're going to have to deal with the different personalities, but you still have to remember what your focus is. Your focus is to share the story. Share the story that is going to be life-changing, transformation for those. And again, just being authentic self, because I always look at it as someone is attached to you. When you share your story, you never know where that will land, somewhere in this world, that you're helping someone that has no hope, to give them a piece of hope and assurance. So, ladies, I want to say thank you guys so much for coming on tonight. Thank you. And again, your anything projects that you're doing, Dr. Teresa, you're going to have to fit me in the schedule to have you come in about the Peace Summit that's coming up. Upfront Mind, Body, and Soul is always welcoming to have you guys. So just remember that. That's something. Anything you want to share, you're always welcome here at Upfront Mind, Body, and Soul. All right, ladies. So I usually end out the show every week with a mantra. I have asked people to write in a mantra. So I have one person who wrote in, and his name is Grover Sheldon. Grover Sheldon wrote in for this week to end the show on practice the PPH. So, what does the PPH stand for? He says, practice your passion, roll with your productivity, and continue to share happiness. So, listen, audience, until next week, we love you here. And if no one has told you that you are loved, just know that you are loved here at the Upfront Mind, Body, and Soul. Until next week, take care.